April.
It's at the
Yeah,
the
the
draft is like
draft
the
is
6th
Beginning
of
of
April.
April. Yeah, beginning of April.
no, the draft is the 27th.
Oh,
Okay,
okay. Sorry,
well,
I was saying the
maybe
national
we're
championship.
deep out then. Maybe we can do like 5 mock drafts then and just like
Heck
keep revising
yeah.
them.
I can't. Yeah.
So we have insider
yeah.
information on this one that has changed something. All right. Everyone got it, and please don't get canceled.
Do I have GroupMe on this thing?
Gentlemen, the goal is to be done at 6:45, by the way. I'm just saying that.
Well, what time is it? 5:30. We could do that. Actually, yeah.
Extreme.
If
can
there's
get
any of these earlier segments, if like you guys or like especially the NFL segments, if you guys all have really like solid takes, you can skip me for any of them, honestly.
It's fine.
Where's
All right.
Dame the link?
What's the link?
I'm sending the link right now.
Oh.
We gotta blast this out on the socials.
It's
I
going in
didn't
the
know what
group
you
me,
meant.
so you can just like steal it from the group me. Because I'm too lazy to send it twice. Also, I can't see what I'm typing, so that'd probably be.
Someone let me know what team is Nolan Smith a good fit for?
Eagles. Eagles are literally the best fit. Like, there's no way around it.
You think they'd
You
pick him at
can't-
10 though?
You can't pick the Eagles because then it's like, oh yeah, they just take every Georgia defensive player. I mean,
So, but what I've heard is they like him, and then they're between him and Luke Van Ness. So, like, I just
The
heard it-
giga-brain strat for the Eagles would be Brian Branch because he's basically just better CJ Gardner.
Also, he's literally like an MLB utility player, so like you can just kind of throw him in wherever. Also, Austin, I sent you the link on GroupMe
All right, coolio.
because I don't know if you're in the new SMC GroupMe. All right, are you guys ready to start?
yep.
All righty, welcome back. It is SMC show number 22. We are legal here. And we have a lot to talk about today. We are getting ready for the Sweet 16 tonight. Actually, it's 6:30. We do have games tipping off, so we're ahead of this time to make predictions. So today we're going to predict our Final Four pre-Sweet 16, and then we're each going to give our national champion teams and who wins eventually, because we're getting close to that. Like right after this weekend, we're like basically down to the 8 best teams in the nation. I know some of your teams at home may have fallen out, and we'll talk about it postseason. I just feel like it's a lot to talk about in balanced NFL free agency, which we also have on the docket today. It has been a ridiculous NFL free agency so far. Many dominoes have fallen, many have still not fallen. And then we are closing on the NBA playoffs, so I thought we would kind of give a little bit of our early season stuff that we came up with. So we're going to do pretenders and contenders. So each person will pick 2 teams, preferably from the East and the West, who are pretenders for the NBA Finals and the NBA playoffs, and contenders for the NBA Finals and NBA playoffs. And then we'll close it out with hot takes. But I'm joined today by Austin Anderson.
What's good? I'm back.
Dallas Turner and Rishi, the Lions man, Chandran.
You already know.
But like I said, let's get into it. We're going to go into the Final Four predictions pre-Sweet 16. Who would like to start it off? Also, we're going to do the Final Four predictions, and then I'll do the national championship teams. I know I put them all together, so like I just didn't want everyone to talk, but I also didn't want to split it up. So whoever would like to go first, fire away.
All right.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. Here's my based, red-pilled, not soy picks for the Final Four. You guys ready for this? All right. Give me. I got the bracket pulled up here. Coming out of the Midwest, I have Houston. Coming out of the West, I have UConn. Coming out of the East, I have Tennessee. And coming out of the South, I got Bama.
Okay, also, I definitely wrote the North on here on accident because I'm a bozo, so I had a bozo moment.
Certified
Who'd you
bozo.
have in the East, Boston?
I
Bama?
I had Bama coming out of this. I had Bama coming out of the South,
Oh,
and
they're
I
out of
had
the South.
Tennessee coming out of the East.
Is anyone willing to pick against Bama in the South?
Honestly, I'm kind of rocking with Princeton's energy right now. I can't even lie to you all. I don't know what it is. It's just the most beautiful kind of basketball to watch. Like they pick apart man, they pick apart zone. Like at one point, Missouri switched to a 1-3-1, then switched to a 2-3, and then switched back to man. And in that span, I'm pretty sure they still had 25 points. Like they are very well coached,
The Eggheads.
very gritty. They do have they're all like all-time leader in rebounds is on the team right now, if nobody knows that. So, but who would like to go next with their Final Four predictions?
I can go. I'll say I'm taking Princeton to cover against Creighton. As much as I love Creighton, but I am going to take Bama out of that region. In the Midwest region, I'm going to take Miami to upset Houston, but then Texas to come out of that region. What's the next easiest? Okay. In the West, I'm going to say UConn right now, but if everyone has UConn beating Arkansas, then I'm going to switch my pick to Arkansas beating UConn, and then I'm taking UCLA to come out. So I'm going to say UConn, may end up flipping to UCLA. We'll see what happens there. And then in the East region, I've got, man, it's so tough because I want to say Michigan State. They seem like the storyline, Izzo in Madison Square Garden just seemed like the team that's going to come out of that region. But I'm going to be honest, if I was putting money on it, I'd probably say Tennessee. For the sake of the show, I'll say Michigan State.
I like the picks, Rishi. I like them. I'm very tempted to take Creighton here. I really like Creighton, but I am going to take Bama. They're too good. I think San Diego State, whatever the line is, it's going to be a close game. San Diego State would be a lot really physical with them. They'll keep it close for sure. I don't think they'll get blown out or anything like that. Obviously, Texas in the Final Four. I have to have Texas in there, even though they kill me every year in a bracket. Got to take them. They're too good. Have too many good pieces on that team, especially with Dessou playing like he is right now. He's playing unbelievable. And if he doesn't play good, they got Timmy Allen to step up and other guys to step up. I have Gonzaga in the Final Four as well. I think even though their defense is a little shaky, I think they get the job done against UCLA, and I think they do play UConn. I think UConn's too good for Arkansas. I could eat that, though. Arkansas has been playing very well, but UConn has been – if you watch any of UConn in the tournament, they're playing out of their minds right now. Jordan Hawkins has been unbelievable for them. So that's this guy to watch out for. And then I'm going to stick with Rishi here and say Michigan State. Reason I don't like Tennessee. I think their slow offense will finally catch up to them at some point in these next two games that they play. Even this game against Florida Atlantic.
Oh, they're gonna struggle. Like they're genuinely gonna struggle every minute of the game.
Yeah, Alex. After Dallas is done, I'm gonna get on a Tennessee soapbox. So Dallas, please continue.
Well, I gotta say something for a little hot take. Might be with Tennessee. Who knows?
Okay, well then, can I just say while we're on the Tennessee topic?
Yeah.
Okay, they would have lost that Duke game if the refs were consistent in their calls. Plavsic would have fouled out fairly early into that game.
I don't think you can say that because Nkamhoua did have 29 points. So, I mean, he literally did put the team on his back at points.
He did, but I felt like, I don't know, if that game was refed consistently throughout the game, it did feel like Plavsic wouldn't have played that full game. But continue.
I mean, I'll give it to you, but
let me hop in here. I gotta say this. Tennessee played well down the stretch against Duke. I thought Duke's defense was, especially when Duke went to 2-3 to protect Roach. I think that really, really hurt them bad. And then you go back to Tennessee's first game. Louisiana had about a 10-minute spurt where they didn't score the ball at all, and they only lost the game by 3. So if you can score consistent against them, you'll probably beat them.
The clamps, that's why they're so good. It's the big if proposition. They're the best defense in the country. I guess when I look at their side of the bracket, I don't see any team who can bust their offense or their defense. So I guess.
Oh, I think you put Michigan State or a Kansas State on a hot shooting night, they're going to break them down very easily, because Tennessee isn't very aggressive getting into like defending tight on looks. So like if you bring ball screen action or you bring like pick and roll action, you can get a lot of shots off of it throughout the game. But
I think Austin's right though. I don't know if I think FAU might be the top choice to potentially be able to bust that defense down, but I don't know if I'm taking any of those 3 teams to do that.
I don't know. But here I go.
Here he goes.
No matter how much.
Just a reminder, Alex. Sorry, you can't pick Kentucky, by the way, because they aren't. They aren't in it.
I know.
You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that.
Dallas cannot even tell you the kind of text exchange that happened throughout that game, because it rhymes with a lot of bad words in it. Yeah, it was just pure. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about Kansas State. They just got lucky. I mean, yeah, they got lucky at all the right times too. But out of the South, God, I really want to pick Princeton just for pure madness reasons. Like, this tournament has been terrible. Nobody's really been able to like decipher who's the best team in the tournament. I felt like Alabama had moments against Maryland where they looked a little shaky. And I feel like Princeton's been really well at devising game plans and executing them throughout the tournament. But I do think Creighton probably poses their biggest threat so far. Creighton has a lot of big players. I think they're going to beat them. But I think I'm in Dallas's boat. I think Creighton's a really good team, so I'm going to stick with Creighton. I don't know what it is. I feel like Alabama, to me, has concerning big man play occasionally. Clowney and I'm forgetting the other guy's name, kind of struggle on and off. And I think if that's what you're looking at, from a Creighton standpoint, I think you can shut that down, but I also think you have a game plan to shut down and or at least keep Brandon Miller at bay. I think if you're playing Alabama throughout the rest of the tournament, your whole job is to keep Brandon Miller away from the ball, make every other player on the floor beat you but Brandon Miller. So I think Creighton has a really good chance to do that. I think they're the best suited team in that situation. But then to go down, I'm going down on the bracket. So I'm going to go down into the East. I'm going Michigan State. I think a lot of people have seen Michigan State throughout the year. I think they're a really well-composed team. I think Merrill Hogard is actually the most crucial part of this team. I think he's one of those guys that can step in a lot of big games. I remember watching him play IU, or no, it's AJ Hogard, right? I'm wrong, right?
Yeah.
It's AJ Hogard. I'm so sorry. I don't know who Merrill is, but I think he's a massive part of this game. So Michigan State does force a lot of turnovers. They also shot 2 for 16 behind the arc and committed 16 turnovers and beat Marquette by 9. So, I mean, if you're looking at have a bad game but also still win, they've definitely done it. And so has Kansas State has had a bad game. I just feel like I have a lot more confidence. Tyson Walker's a great player too. So, I mean, just stepping up. And I think Tom Izzo might be a better coach. So at the end of the day, I think it's close, but I have Michigan State just irking one out. And then I have to go Arkansas out of the West. I think Arkansas is the team to beat. I know people are saying UCLA and Gonzaga have Final Four experience. I felt like Gonzaga has been kind of like a touch and go team for me. And that TCU game kind of showed a lot of their flaws. And I feel like if you game plan to it, and that's something Eric Musselman does well. And also the fact that you have 5 guards that you can use at any point in the game. You have Anthony Black, Devontae Davis, you have or as people call him, Devo. You have Nick Smith, you have Ricky Council. I mean, you have 4 to 5 guards that you can go to. You have Jordan Walsh. I feel like there's definitely a massive amount of talent, and I feel like 2 or 3 of those guys can get hot any single night. I think you're going to have to look at their center and power forward play to really step up, though. I feel like that's maybe been what they've been missing throughout the tournament. So I have Arkansas coming out of the West, and then out of the Midwest, it was tough. I had this conversation. I feel like everything points to Houston to win this, but I think Texas could field 2 teams in March Madness and probably at least get 5 wins each. Like they have that depth of talent on their roster. So for me, it's Texas. So, but on to the national championship. I guess since Austin went first, Austin, who do you have in your national championship and who wins?
Give me the team haunted by the ghost of Shabazz Napier. Give me the UConn Huskies to win the national championship in the year of our Lord 2023.
Didn't you pick UCLA to come out of the West?
No, I picked UConn.
Oh, I thought I heard UCLA. My bad.
Oh, sorry. No, I picked UConn.
It's like, how do you switch up that take that fast?
I think they have all the ingredients to be a champion. They have a dominant down low player. They've got an NBA caliber shot and maker. And to completely cut out all of the variants that March Madness deals with, they are the best rebounding team in the country, which I think doesn't get enough play at college because they just you don't get extra chances against UConn on the boards. Like they just cut out all the variants. And I think that they've looked the best out of all of the good teams so far. I think they haven't really been close to, teetering or anything like that. I mean, in the second half of their games, they start pretty slow, but I want UConn. They're also
Who do you have them playing?
Bama.
All righty. Rishi or Dallas?
Rishi can go.
I'm taking Bama over Texas. When I made my bracket, I didn't want to take something as chalk as this. Thought this was going to be a year where we broke the upsets record for the tournament, but
they did. I thought they did.
Did we really?
Purdue counts as 5, so
Okay.
It was close. I looked because your hot take was that I think we broke the first round one. I'm still waiting to see if we break I think we were close. I think we were at 16 on the tracker that I looked at.
Okay, if so, the record is 19, so we could actually break that. But basically, what I'm saying is my bracket has done so poorly that I've been broken down into taking Bama versus Texas in the national championship.
Dallas.
Bama versus Texas. Texas winning it all. Texas is too deep. I think the most deep team in the country right now.
I have a question. Do you have any concern about any lack of top NBA talent on Texas's roster being a reason why they wouldn't be able to be a national championship contender?
No, I don't have concern about NBA guys being they're not in the NBA yet, so who knows?
See, the thing that I have with Texas is that I feel like when it gets down into these crunch time playoff times, especially for basketball, I feel like it's the strength of your best 5 player lineup that is really what propels you. The reason that the Warriors can afford to throw scrubs out there or basically just glue players out there is because their starting 5 last year was dominant. And I just don't see Texas having, I feel like their depth isn't as big of a thing, as big of a boon as it is, especially when it gets down to the elite teams in the country. So just my thoughts.
I am a pure storyliner in this one, guys. I'm going Alabama versus Arkansas, with Arkansas winning. Arkansas has lost early, so they lost on my birthday. Just throwing that out there. By 25, or they lost by 15, and then they lost by 3 February 25th. So I think it just feels like it's going to get there. I honestly cannot tell you all what's going on with Arkansas. I just know that Eric Musselman seems like he knows what to do, when to do it, all the time. And like you all said about Texas, there might be some question marks. I have some question marks about Houston. I feel like if Arkansas is a team to get hot in the Sweet 16, that's the team that I'm going to ride. I will say, though, I kind of think that if it comes down to this and it's Michigan State or Tennessee coming out to play Bama, I could see Bama losing. But I think at the end of the day, I don't think anyone on that left side of the bracket has any juice to match up against Alabama. I just think you're going to probably get run out of the gym at some point. So that's what I had. It's going to be interesting. I think we're all waiting to see what happens. I think this round is probably going to end up sealing the fate for some teams and creating a storyline that we never could imagine. I saw something I saw this earlier. Every single team that is playing currently has not won a national championship in their school history.
Yeah.
Nobody has won a national championship. So there's no like, this team has the blah, blah, blah. Like, no, nothing. Nobody has it.
There's a few that have won national championships,
Yeah.
right? But but it's like it's only like 3 or 4 teams that have.
Well, UCLA
Michigan State-
definitely has.
Yeah,
No,
I was gonna
but
say.
I think it was in the modern era, though. I think it was the modern era is what they're talking
Okay.
about. I knew it wasn't
I
like
get-
the over. It's the modern era, though. Like, I think they're talking since like 1995 or something is what
okay.
they consider the modern era. So, just saying, it is out there that no one has won since like 1995. So nobody can say like, oh, well, that coach has been there before he's done that. No, none of them have done this before. And if they
Tom
have,
Izzo
they've
has.
done it. Tom Izzo has done it a little bit. And I mean, Mark
No,
Few,
more than a little bit.
No, like
Tom
he's won a
Izzo has
national
done.
championship, hasn't he, since 1995?
Oh yeah, didn't they win in like the early 2000s?
I'm trying to think. I think there are like 2 or 3 coaches that maybe have.
who?
Or Rick Barnes has. Okay, maybe it's just Gonzaga in Michigan State then.
Oh. I don't see
Izzo
it.
won it in
Look at Alex
2000.
over here contributing to the spread of misinformation on the internet.
Now
Yeah,
I'm
they did
Shame-
one in
shame
2000.
him, Snowball.
What was this Twitter graphic I just saw that March Madness posted?
Oh, you trusted something on Twitter?
Yes, it was
There's
from
your
March
answer.
Madness. So I was thinking, they're not in a bunch of idiots, but maybe they might be a little bit. I don't know. That's what I saw, but maybe their modern era is like 2005 and up or something stupid, or like since 2010. Like, there's never context in that. But I know we missed out on it last week, and everyone was so sad we missed it last week. But last week's show ran long, and I was on vacation, and I actually wanted to have vacation. So, this week we are back with Do You Know Ball, and this week it is March Madness facts. So these are just facts about March Madness. If you guys know about March Madness, then you might have the answer, but if not, I might stump you once again. Are we ready to go, gentlemen?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Who won the first ever March Madness tournament before it was called March Madness in 1939?
I want to say UCLA.
That's fine with me. 'Cause
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
I
feel
will
like
give you a hint. It is in the Pac-12.
it is.
Yes, it is a Pac-12 team, a current Pac-12 team.
I guess just because they were so good for so long,
Yeah.
Well, it's not going to be UCLA now because why would he have said that if it was UCLA?
That does make a lot of sense. Or is Alex a little shyster in the host booth? He's twiddling his thumbs, thinking that he can mess with us. I think my gut is UCLA.
Yeah. I agree
They were
with
like
that.
the wooden offense, or not. Geez, what am I trying to say here? Like wooden whatever. They had an offense.
Okay.
Was it the
This is a
Princeton
safe.
offense? No, it wasn't.
This is a safe space, right?
Yeah.
I have a dumb question. Is Cal in the Pac-12?
Yes,
California.
Cal is in
Yeah.
the Pac-12.
I'm just gonna say Cal. I don't know why. Just gonna say Cal.
If you want to play separate answers today, we can always play separate answers. If everyone else it's happened before.
For some reason, they popped into my head, so that's why. I said that.
I'm locking in UCLA.
Dallas,
UCLA.
Rishi's going Cal.
Why not?
You guys were in the wrong state. We're talking about the Oregon Ducks. They won the first ever national championship in
What?
1939. You're talking about the John Wooden era. John Wooden era was like 1970s.
Is it?
Yes.
Whoops.
Yeah, you want
I
to talk
just-
about someone
I
making
just
a
I just
mistake.
thought that wait a minute. Anyways, I thought they were only good at running. So whoopsie doodles.
It is 1939. I don't know how many basketball programs were around back then.
Right.
All righty. On to the next question. A question that many of us believe is true every single year. What are the odds of having a perfect bracket?
We got to know like the
I
actual
will give you
number.
the like term for the last number. It is quintillion.
I think it's like 9 or 7 quintillion. I feel like for some reason that's the number I've heard, but I
I
don't know.
am gonna give you like Price is Right rules. So if you're close, I'm gonna like let it slide. If you're
Right.
close, but
Oh wait,
You
it's
have to
Price is
have-
Right.
yeah, but you have to have like the first digit of the number.
Oh, give me 9.1 quintillion then, so I can be better than Rishi. I feel like I
Well,
thought it was
that's-
I thought it was a multiple of 3. That was the last time
I don't know the last time you saw Price is Right though, because that's not how that works.
I might just
But if you go above someone's answer and whatever, basically, I think 9.1 is gonna be too high.
mm. Oh no, Price is Right is the optimal strategy is to just bet $1 every time.
No, it's
If everyone's over.
it's the closest without going over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that could be a good strategy if I say 9. I don't know, Dallas, what do you think?
I was gonna lowball and say 6, but
You know what? I'm not even gonna use a Price is Right strategy. I'm just gonna go with the number in my head right now and based off Alex's reactions. 1 in 17 quintillion.
I'm gonna guess 3.78 quintillion.
Are you changing your answer?
Yes.
Are you answers locked in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Austin, you're an idiot.
What?
It was 9.2 quintillion.
Oh my god.
Did you not see my reaction over here? I was like, oh wow, he just jumped that one. I wasn't expecting it. I was like, oh, okay.
Whoops. I just thought I saw it somewhere was 3.78. I just remember seeing that number on like ESPN or
It's all right,
something.
guys. You guys are 0 for 2 right now, but we still have 3 questions left, so there is still a chance to come back. This was actually in a lecture, or technically a SMC board SMC meeting. How much money does March Madness cause in losses for businesses each year? And it does end in the billion.
I think I just saw this. Like, I think it's like due to bad productivity, it's like 17 billion, something like that.
going
Rishi
Rishi,
opening
I
up.
don't. I have no idea.
I'll take 16.9 billion.
I'll say 17 for my Price is Right answer. To get it on the dot, I'll just say 17.8 billion.
Dallas, are you riding with someone on this one?
Yeah, I'm riding with Rishi. I have no idea.
I'm gonna
Answers
Just
are
a
locked
collective
in.
effort.
The correct answer is $16.3 billion.
I was close.
So technically everyone was over.
Yes.
So
Everyone
on.
lost. Once
they're
again.
not giving anyone credit for that.
Hey, come on, man. I had the first number.
You were $600,000 over.
That's
Or no, not even
$600
600.
million.
You're 600 million over. You're 600 million over. That's not even like.
What are you talking? Yeah, we're talking billions here.
Chump change.
We're talking millions.
We're talking about
No.
my lunch money here. All right.
All righty. Maybe an easier question. How many seats are in NRG Stadium?
Son. Not even the inventor.
What? These aren't
not
even basketball
the
questions.
creator of NRG Stadium has this answer. So, I mean-
60,000.
Does anyone know the Colts number? Lucas Oil's number?
Colts is 60.
It's around
Colts is
yeah.
61,250.
nerd.
So what do we think? Do we think NRG Stadium is newer than Lucas Oil Stadium?
Well, it would be if they got the bid. So
I'll go with
I guess-
67. I'll go 67,000.
I was gonna guess 65,000. Final answer. Locking it.
Are we including standing room?
no, this is literal physical seating. Because I did have to Google that because I felt bad.
I'll go with 61.
So Dallas went with 67,000. Rishi went with 61. Austin, you're going with 65, correct?
Actually, 68,000.
Alrighty. Well, we have our first winner, gentlemen. It is Austin Anderson because NRG Stadium holds 72,220.
See, there we go. Now the Price is Right thing worked. Let's go.
You guys have one last question to catch Austin on his one question win streak.
What can I say? When you're good, you're good.
All right. Oh, that is not a good color. I will not be able to see that later. All right. The final question, number 5. What is the annual revenue of March Madness? It is in the billions.
Can you give us a range?
This is not
Give
doing
us
the
a-
ball. This
give
is
us a
1 to
20
10. It is in between $1 to $10 billion.
Okay.
This is what revenue of March Madness.
Yep.
Actually, yeah, if we're just going, well, that's not true. Who wants to go?
5.6.
2 billion.
2.6.
Give me
5.6.
Oh, 5.6.
Yeah.
Give me $3 billion.
Austin's going for a flat number. Interesting method. Rishi,
I'll go with $2 billion.
answers are locked in. You are all once again incorrect. March Madness grosses $1.4 billion per year.
I should have guessed one. I was too. I'm so
In my
mad.
mind,
Austin
I'm
did
taking
win,
the dub
though.
on
We
that.
have our big winner answering one correct question.
Hey man, I got 1.5.
You were off 900 million.
Also, what is this like an event management class exam? Like this is
I
not
just
March
thought I would
Madness.
switch it up. I there was a lot of irrelevant. Okay, Austin, if you can give me this correct answer, I will give you the half a point.
Let's go. All right, give it to
Rishi
me.
didn't get this correct from the week before. This Michigan legend poured in 184 points in the tournament, but his contribution seemingly came when they needed it against Seton Hall in the 1989 National Championship, where he put up 31 points and 11 rebounds.
I do not remember this question.
Rishi, you got this wrong. Self-proclaimed Michigan fan here.
I listen, man. I don't follow.
I
college
want it on the
basketball.
record. I never answered this question. I don't remember this at all.
No, you
Yeah.
did. You gave a good answer. You had it. You were
Rishi,
you were
we
close.
both answered it with the same answer.
I'm gonna guess
Whatever.
Chris Webber.
That is incorrect. It is Glenn Rice.
Mm,
It's all right, guys. I might just be better at making questions than you all are at answering them. It's
Yeah,
okay.
I think next week I'm gonna bring, do you know the GDP of the United States economy in 2012 and see if Alex can get that one.
Well, okay, I'm not gonna lie. I told Dallas this. I made these like a week ago, and I was honestly just too lazy to create new questions. So I was like, it's still March Madness.
we
so-
should get to use Chat GPT for one question.
Alrighty, but that is the end of our March Madness segment. On to a whirlwind week in the NFL. It is the NFL free agency period so far, so teams have been legally able to acquire, and as some people say, the legal tampering period. But also trades were made leading up to that and before that. So we're going to talk about those as well. I know there was a little bit of confusion, but first I wanted to open up with who we thought the best pickup was in free agency so far. So whoever would like to go first, knock yourself out.
All right, for
Alright.
best pickup,
Mm-hmm.
Orlando Brown to the Bengals. That is my pick. They got him for, I think, cheaper than I expected him to. I think they give him a bunch of guarantees, though, right?
It's a lot of bonus money, actually.
Bonus money, right?
They have
'cause
an
wanted
opt-out.
to-
They also have an opt-out in 2 years, which is very interesting.
Yeah, but I think they got him for cheaper than Jawan Taylor was to replace, and he's better. And it's like the perfect, like you're gonna have to spend big for a good left tackle. That's just the way it is. But I think it's the perfect. They didn't really overpay for how much he was probably gonna make, and he fixes a really big problem that they have. So I wanna say Orlando Brown to the Bengals.
Rishi?
So actually, yeah, I was gonna give a real answer, but I'm gonna give this answer. I'm just gonna say whatever team ends up with Lamar Jackson. I'm of the belief that even though my ideal situation would be to have a quarterback on a rookie contract scale and build around him, if there's a next best option, it's probably paying a guy like Lamar Jackson.
Okay, that's your future, but can you please give me a real player that was picked up in free agency and someone has actually talked to them as of recently?
Okay, I'll shout out.
They have a corporeal form.
I'll shout out the Falcons for getting Jesse Bates. That was kind of under the radar a little bit.
That is.
Dallas? Did Austin?
I think
yours?
you know what mine was.
That's what I
So-
thought.
No recency bias here, and no team biases in this building at all.
I don't even think it has to do with my bias. I think it's just better.
What is
All
it?
right,
Orlando Brown.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't realize I took yours.
gentlemen, I have done a deep amount of analysis and a deep amount of research. The best pickup in this draft class was not on the offensive side.
The free agency period.
Or the free agency. I don't know what I'm even
Yeah.
saying anymore. It was Javon Hargrave to the 49ers. I believe if you want to look at what the 49ers struggled with in most games, it is gap run control. And they got probably one of the best gap run control defenders in the NFL. Also a player who adds another piece to a defensive line that has been already stacked. I know they lost their defensive coordinator in D'Amico Ryans, but I believe they'll probably just end up promoting someone in the building, so it's not like they're going to lose his philosophy. I think that's a really good pickup for a defense that's already really well suited. They spent a good amount of money on him, but I feel like he's definitely worth the amount of money that was given. I mean, if you want to look at his cap for this year as well, he only is taking a $6 million cap this year, so they kind of saved themselves to go get future players. So I think that was a really good pickup. I know some people have some hate because he's like 30, but like most run gap defenders and defensive tackles can play till they're like 36 because like they rotate them so often. But I think that's a really good pickup for them. And I think it's probably, I feel like it's something that they needed and they finally addressed it. So that's why I give them kudos on that. Jesse Bates was also a very close second, Rishi. So
No.
now if we were talking about steals, give me Chauncey Gardner-Johnson on an $8 million deal. But
No, you know what the real steal was CJ Mosley. I think he's a better
No.
player than Gardner Johnson is, and he was cheaper.
all right.
Listen, bro, he gets picks, but we can talk about that later. But I do want to say, Alex, I want to push back a little bit. I just feel like there's only one NFL defensive tackle who's worth more than $20 million. And it's not Javon Hargrave. I just feel like they threw a lot of money. Sure, he's really good, I think. But I think just from a team building perspective, I just don't like throwing big money at a defensive tackle when they had a suspect secondary, a secondary that could be had. There were some guys there who could be had, when they already had such a strong defensive line. I don't know. I'm a little iffy about it, especially if you can get Gardner Johnson for $8 million, but
I don't know. I think it was a good pickup at the end of the day. That's all I'm going to say. I think Austin, your positional value scale of whatever you have it
defensive
as,
tackle's like the least valuable defensive position besides like linebacker.
I think there's something to be said about it sometimes. I feel like that's, if you want to talk about why they were so good last year, they had the highest amount of sacks in the NFL. And they were like, a top 3 rated DVOA defensive team, even with a suspect secondary. I mean, you
It's
put
some
a
guys that
bigger
can be
body.
had.
No, but not here. Listen to this. You put a bigger body on the line. So now you don't have to blitz Fred Warner as much. So then he can play more of a pull-to-pull middle linebacker like he already does. So I'm just saying, for me, it fit a hole that a team had, and I felt like it was probably very close to one of the best without me saying Orlando Brown, because I felt like Orlando Brown was like the most soft layup question out here. But on to the next one that I had, the team that has done best in the free agency period so far. So just pick a team. Tell me why you think they've done great so far in free agency, and tell me why a little bit.
Well, you already know who I'm going
Give
with.
our give our spiel, Rishi.
So I actually was interested to see that they paid a little bit more money for David Montgomery rather than keeping Jamal Williams, but he's a little bit of a different back, so I can see the justification for it. Probably a higher ceiling there. Like Austin was saying, you get Emmanuel Mosley, you get C.J. Gardner-Johnson. One I don't think we've talked about yet is Cam Sutton. Getting him was a huge pickup. There's someone else I'm forgetting. Oh, Graham Glasgow. We got him back. He's been gone for a few years.
You all do need to sign DJ Chark, though, please.
DJ Chark, I hear there's some interest from Marvin Jones, so they may still be weighing their wide receiver options. This may be foreshadowing to later on in the show, but they could always pick up a wide receiver in the draft. But that's my team.
And then can I just add one more thing here? So one of the key tenets, especially in a position group that is so dependent on the weakest link, like the secondary is, while none of the players that they added are superstar level players or even like Pro Bowl level players consistently, the fact that they went from throwing out like Jerry Jacobs and Mike Hughes to proven league veterans, I think will do like wonders for their pass defense. You're just creeping back towards average. And even then, Mosley and Sutton are both, I'd say, above average if they're healthy.
Jerry Jacobs is good. Jerry Jacobs is very good.
It was a very, very good time. Dallas or Austin? Or I can go always. You know what? I'll go. I had to change it because on mine is not a technicality, but I had the Miami Dolphins, and my actual point is not even about who they picked up. It's about that they got a defensive coordinator. They brought in the legend himself, Vic Fangio, the revolutionizer of NFL defenses. But on top of that, they added to what I thought was a very depleted defense at the end of last year. You looked at, they struggled in some areas of the field. They traded for Jalen Ramsey for a 3rd-round pick. I know there's a lot of hate on that. Like, the dude's almost 30. You're paying him that much money, blah, blah, blah. But I think they did add a lot of very crucial pieces. The biggest one, though, I have to say, is David Long from the Titans on an $11 million deal. He is currently rated one of the highest run defending linebackers and pass defending linebackers at an 86.5 and 86.4 last year. So very good for him. They grabbed Duke Riley. They added a lot. I think they covered up a lot of the holes that they needed. Not only on their offense, but on their defense with depth. So they added a lot of depth pieces. They retained a lot of the players they had. They got Mike White as backup. They added Braxton Berrios. They got Nick Needham back on the roster. I think they just did a lot of things that they needed to do. And they just kind of plugged up the holes where they had them. And I think they're only going to continue to get better after this. So yes, I'm going with the Miami Dolphins.
It's a good pick. I don't want to steal. I actually, I was going to say the Lions, but I think as much as it pains me to say, I think Dallas, the Cowboys, have had a very good free agency period because they made the single best move of the free agency period. Can you guess what I think that best move is?
Re-signing Leighton Vander Esch?
No. Releasing Ezekiel Elliott.
Yes, I agree.
That albatross of a contract. Ugly, ugly, ugly. They also traded for a all-pro, Pro Bowl caliber cornerback. Brandon Cooks is an insanely productive deep threat receiver. They brought Tony Pollard back. I think on the strength of those moves alone, I think they have had a very, very strong free agency. There might be some like more in the weeds ones.
Chuma Adoga is a good one. That's a good backup. On offensive tackle.
And getting
Uh,
Van Der Esch back, right? And
Van Der
even-
Esch and Donovan Wilson were two massive pickups. I think Ronald Jones on a 1-year, $1 million deal is like a plug and chug running back. CJ Goodwin's also a good depth piece. He'll be probably like a 4th or 5th string corner. But like you said, I think they improved in some places. I'm still waiting to see them. I think the biggest thing is letting go of Dalton Schultz was the one that really was like the kind of felt like they probably could have re-signed him for what he was worth. So that's my only like part on the Cowboys. And I also do want to see them kind of improve. If they get all these players and then don't end up making the playoffs or losing the first round again, I'm going to be a little bit surprised. So Dallas, bring it home. Who was your best team the free agency period so far?
So just free agency period. I would say the Bears. I don't know if you count DJ Moore in this, but I'm gonna
I told you I like kind of gave it some contextualization of like there's like considered the legal tampering period. So yes.
Yeah, so I guess I'll say the Bears. I want to shout out the Panthers. I think they've done a solid job getting Miles Sanders, Hayden Hurst, and Adam Thielen. I think that's a good start for your rookie quarterback, whoever it will be first overall. But I'm going to say the Bears here. DJ Moore, obviously, him and Mooney out there for Justin Fields is spectacular. I think a sneaky good pickup is actually Robert Tonyan. With their 2 tight end sets and the way they've been able to run the ball last year, I think that's very interesting. Him and Kmet on the field at the same time. You lose David Montgomery, but you sign Dante Foreman, who is pretty similar to David Montgomery. Obviously, Montgomery is younger, but on a 1-year deal. And obviously, the trade for Roquan, they signed Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards at linebackers so they can focus their draft capital on the defensive line and maybe defensive back. So I think the Bears have been relatively quiet after the DJ Moore trade, but have just got solid pieces to not have to draft every position on the field in the NFL draft.
I'm actually going to disagree with you on this, Dallas. I just wanted to be noted of where the AAV sits on like Tremaine Edmonds' contract. Currently he is sitting at, I need to go to the after his new contract, he is 11th. Let me just name a few of the people below him. Devin White, Rashawn Gary, Fred Warner, Roquan Smith, Foyesade Oluokun, Bradley Chubb, Hassan Reddick, Kayvon Thibodeau. I think they overpaid in a market that they didn't need to spend the money. No matter how much you want to say like they're important, an off-ball linebacker is somewhere where I feel like maybe you can spend a little less on spending $14.5 million plus a year. For a guy he's an interior linebacker, but he plays more like an off-ball. I felt like you made this statement as the Bears that you're not going to re-sign Roquan Smith. And then you just spent the same amount of money to go get 2 linebackers that Roquan Smith could definitely do their job for. So that was my only problem with how the Bears went about it, is I felt like they spent a lot of money and really didn't improve in the aggregate. In the linebacker position, I thought they improved other places, though. Getting DJ Moore was great for them. All those other things were fantastic. But I feel like at the linebacker position, I feel like they may have spent a little bit more than they bargained for. So that's my only thing.
So Tremaine Edmonds' contract is not more than Roquan Smith's contract. So I think Tremaine, obviously the trade.
Get the fact checkers on that.
I looked it up.
I'm currently on Sport Track looking at top salaries.
Roquan Smith signed a 5-year, $100 million deal. That's $60 million guaranteed. Tremaine Edmonds with the Bears signed 4 years, $72 million, $50 million guaranteed.
Maybe I'm not looking at I wasn't looking at guaranteed. Maybe I should be looking at. Okay, let me look at this now.
Okay,
funny? Yes, technically speaking, yes. But no, now let me change this, because Tremaine Edmonds is getting paid per year more than TJ Watt, Bradley Chubb, CJ Mosley, Hassan Reddick, Shaquille Leonard, Shaquille Barrett, Sadie Aluakon, Harold Landry, Bobby Okereke, Randy Gregory, Matt Milano, Matthew Judon, Fred Warner, Devin White. If you're telling me that you paid that much money to him to get someone who's substantially worse by a defensive metric and by every defensive metric, I don't know if I would spend that money.
I would say the funniest thing is that both like TJ Edwards and David Long graded out way better than both Roquan Smith and Tremaine Edmonds did at PFF, and they cost like a fraction of it.
And
he was good. Tremaine Edmonds was good last year, but like I feel like
but the years before that were not good.
He wasn't, yeah. And then it's like he's got the former first round pick thing going for him. But yeah, I don't know why the Roquan Smith deal was stupid.
Well, they had to throw money at him. That was the only way to keep him. So,
well, they didn't need him though. He's linebackers are that we can haggle and haggle over linebackers, but they're all useless except for like three. There's
Fred Warner,
Levante David, and Bobby Wagner.
Oh, actually, I don't know. I might throw Micah Parsons in there.
Oh, okay. I like the edge rushing ones like TJ Watt and Micah Parsons. I'm not counting.
But middle.
Sorry, off
like middle linebackers. Yes, off ball linebackers. I would only pay 3 a lot of money. Yeah. That's just my own opinion. Yeah. But now on to, as we were speaking of bad things, a team that has done terrible in free agency. This could mean they've done nothing. They've sat on their hands. I'm not looking at you, the Indianapolis Colts. I'm just looking in your direction. But let's just talk about a team that we think has done poorly. It may be because they have no money. It may be at the fact that they're throwing money at people they probably don't need to throw money at. But who was the worst team for you all?
I mean,
I've done first these last time, so yeah, somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, just based on like just giving away all the leverage they have, the Packers have to be in this discussion for just absolutely not using Aaron Rodgers' trade value right. They've essentially.
Well, they haven't traded him yet because they're still haggling about the price.
Yeah, they're trying to trade him at his lowest trade value probably in his entire career, and are asking for more than people are willing to give up at this point because they know that the relationship between him and the Packers isn't the best right now. So for that reason, I'll go with the Packers.
Got to do some like final research before I finalize my pick.
I feel okay. So I'm gonna get one of the teams that I think that a lot of people said had a bad year. The Philadelphia Eagles did not have a bad year, people. They had to pay a lot of guys a lot of money. And you haven't realized that Howie Roseman has drafted a lot of these guys or developed a lot of these guys. So them leaving the building is not a problem, I feel like. So I am not picking them. I'm actually picking the Denver Broncos, a team that I think has been throwing money at guys like just like stupid amount of money. You want to talk about $130 million being wasted? Hey, Mike McGlinchey and Ben Powers that much money, and then tell me how much better it makes your team. You haven't spent in a wide receiver market. Your wide receivers are PO'd still. They're not happy with you. You have a quarterback that you're paying out the wazoo, and you have not gotten better in the aggregate in any way, shape, or form. Also, you have no first-round draft picks for this year. You have nothing. So why are you spending that much money for guys that I don't think are worth the money to spend? I mean, if you're just going to end up losing the season, which I think I would if I was the Denver GM, just say, throw it all out. I mean, you're not going to be good. You lost your defensive coordinator. You just brought in Sean Payton, and you've kind of given him the worst situation ever. I think the Denver Broncos are probably at the bottom of my list right now if we did an NFL power rankings.
Maybe Sean Payton is bringing over some of that Mickey Loomis energy. He was like, hey, we're not going to be good, but still pay a bunch of money. We'll be over the cap. I know who mine is. I'm I am going to pick the Las Vegas Raiders, even though they've been busybodies. One, they absolutely downgraded at quarterback and paid more money to do it. Garoppolo's not good. He's going to be bad outside of the 49ers. I already know this for a fact, even though the Raiders have they have really good weapons. They traded away the best quarterback that they've had in however many years. Or they didn't trade him, right?
No, they let him walk.
Yeah,
just
they let him.
walk out of the building.
Sorry. Yeah, they let him walk.
They trade their best tight end though.
They trade one of the most dynamic tight ends for not really a whole lot. And then they sign a wide receiver who one of their already like good weapons, like they split time. Like Jacoby Myers like got out of the slot in I think 70% of his snaps, and Hunter Renfrow plays 65% of his snaps in the slot. So it's like, what are we doing here? We're pouring water into a glass of water. Gee, I was trying to do the pouring motion and I threw the pencil across my thing. I just like, and they didn't do much. They didn't make any true moves to get better on defense. It's also
they got Marcus Epps is definitely a step in the right direction. At least,
yeah, like
good, I mean, you're at least addressing the problem. Like you're attempting to put a Band-Aid on it. Like
yeah,
your finger might be off, but I mean, you're at least trying to put a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah. And then I think the saddest indictment is that they didn't even re-sign Cleveland Farrell. Former number 4 overall pick. What were they cooking? Who knows? Just a sad state of affairs for the Las Vegas Raiders. I just am more so confused by a lot of their moves. And I think when you add it all together, I just don't see the direction. Like I don't know what they're doing.
All right, Dallas, bring us home.
Yeah, I'm trying to look this up here.
Is there any Colts slander coming in? I'm just waiting for it.
I wasn't gonna pick the Colts.
They're a bad team.
They're bad, yeah. I was trying.
Let's just stop beating up on them. They paid a kicker.
I was trying to look at some better of the road teams that gotten worse, and a team that we haven't talked about. I'm not gonna steal one of your guys, so I don't know if they're true losers, but I'll talk about the Minnesota Vikings here for a second. No more Adam Thielen, no more Patrick Peterson, no more Eric Kendricks, no more Dalvin Tomlinson. Those are 4 key guys that started for you. So I don't know how much that exactly hurts them, but
I feel I think Dalvin Tomlinson's the one that if I was a GM, I would have felt like that was kind of a punch in the nuts. I felt he's really good for what he does.
I will say I forgot they signed Byron Murphy, so that is a good sign. But other than that, I don't see too many additions. Other than that, and a few more key losses. So
yeah, their secondary was terrible too.
Yeah,
I don't know why they
weird.
Spend more money. Like Darius Slay was on the market, they didn't even call him. Like they
didn't even
look in his direction. They were like, oh.
Or like make a play for like Jesse Bates or Gardner Johnson. Or
they didn't make a move for anybody. So I agree. I think Minnesota, but I also think they might have some draft value that might be able to be used. But I think Adam Thielen and like the Harrison Smith thing. Well, they restructured Harrison Smith. I think they did.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
They restructured a bunch of people. I think in the sense now, like those guys are getting older, so you're gonna have to restructure them, pay them a little less because they're not really providing what they were providing as a dynamic playmaker, like 28 and like 26 or 28. So I think that is it. This kind of filters into the next question. A team that could be interesting for the NFL draft. This may be a team that has a lot of picks. This may be a team that is looking to improve in a position that has been historically bad for the team, or just a team that was kind of going into last year that you think if they get a couple guys out of the draft that they could truly make an impact and they could kind of push this team to more of a contender than they were last year or to a better position in their division. I'm gonna have Rishi open this one up.
So this take is purely based on speculation, but I'm going with the Bears. I think they're kind of in an interesting situation where they've loaded up on a little bit of draft capital. And they drafted 9 now?
They're 9,
yes.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wonder if at that spot, like they fall in love with a couple prospects, and if one of those guys starts to fall past 9, they may try to use some of that future draft compensation to trade up, maybe get another pick in the middle of the first round, But like I said, that's based on nothing but speculation. I just feel
I
like
think they have to draft an offensive lineman no matter where they are in the draft. Like you genuinely have to go get one.
we'll get there in the later segment of the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Detroit's a pretty obvious answer because they were a fundamentally very sound. Like they finished the year on fire, and now they have 2 top 20 picks, and I think 6 in the top 100, right?
6 on top.
But I feel like that's cheating. I think. Let me think. I don't know. I feel like the Patriots because I feel like they could go a million different ways. I don't even know like Brian Branch is like the prototype Belichick defender. Jackson Smith and Jigba is basically like Julian Edelman. They need offensive line help. I feel like there are just so many for a team that like historically, the Patriots are always good, but for a team that I feel like the roster has really been like deteriorating over these past few years, I feel like it's going to be really interesting to see how everybody says like Bill Belichick's the smartest. I think like what's he going to pick? Because he only has one, but he has so many players that he could draft. Yeah, I think the Patriots. I want to see what they're because I feel like whoever they pick, it's kind of like is their team's direction going forward of how they're going to focus on bolstering that usually dominant roster.
Dallas, I'll have you go.
For me, I look at the Seattle Seahawks here. I'm really interested to see what they do. Broncos, that trade with the Broncos gives them the Broncos pick in round 1 and round 2. So they have 2 picks in round 1, 2 in round 2, and 2 in round 5. So they have plenty of picks with a team that was right on the verge. Obviously, they re-signed Geno Smith in the offseason. So I like to see where they go with these picks, see what else they can add to defense that was pretty surprising. Tariq Woolen, obviously amazing. See who else they can get on the defensive side, and who knows who they draft. I'm interested to see who they draft.
You think they could go quarterback?
It's a possibility. I mean, I don't know. It is a possibility.
I feel like they're one of the teams that I feel like could take a flyer on like one of the fringier quarterback prospects, like McKee.
I feel like they're a third rounder. I feel like they're a second or a third round quarterback team. Like they're looking at like Tanner McKee or like Jake Haener or one of those guys, like a mid-round talent to develop. Because I think if you pay Geno Smith all that money, like, are you really gonna like go back on it? I had the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that a lot of people said had gotten worse. But if you look, they have 2 picks in the first round this year. Currently, they're mocked to get Brian Branch and Nolan Smith. I feel like their offense, I feel like they could kind of be smart here. I feel like if they draft a secondary piece and they draft a wide receiver, they kind of fix both sides of the ball at the same time. No matter how much I like Quez Watkins, he is not a good threat down the middle of the field. Not a great player out of the slot. So if you're looking in there, you have Quentin Johnson still in there, Jackson Smith and Jigba. There's kind of been this like weird thing going on at the wide receiver market. Like no one knows where anyone's going to go. Jordan Addison could be in there. I think maybe his size is going to hurt him a little more for an Eagles. They like bigger targets, guys that can run over the middle of the field.
Devontae Smith,
I do think Zay Flowers is an interesting conversation if you're the Eagles, and he's still there and the Chargers didn't pick him. He's a productive playmaker. Had over 1,000 yard season last year, 12 touchdowns and 13 8-point yards per reception. So maybe you look at him, but I think the Eagles are a team that's drafted really well in the past and could draft really well in the future. But talking about the draft, I said the other day when I was writing this, let's talk about a player who you like going into the draft and where you think they best fit. Let's do an offense and a defensive player.
Someone else go first so I don't steal someone.
I'll go first. I already have my guys up. Can you give me, if I can just get 1 second? I'm actually going to start off on the defensive side. This is a guy that I kind of feel like got disrespected because he played in the Pac-12 just a little bit. It is Christian Gonzalez. I'm just going to go through. In his 40-yard dash time, he ran a 4.38, putting him in the 89th percentile. He had a vertical jump of 41.5, putting him in the 98th percentile. Had a broad jump of 11.1, putting him in the 95th percentile. He has an arm length of 32 and a hand size of 9.5. He's 6'1", 197 pounds. Kind of a longer defender, but he has a nice lockdown coverage. I know some people have him as shades of AJ Terrell, and that'd be really great if the Falcons got him. But I think the team that could be best suited for him is a Raiders team. I think he does need to become I think he's playing against high-end talent week in, week out. It'd be good for him to see it. He's a great player. I think he's only going to get better as time goes on. I know that I have some concerns about some of the other quarterbacks based on their height, 5'11". I always like a bigger, longer corner when you think about it, 6'2", 6'3" guy, or even that 6'1" range. But I think he's going to be a really big part of this team if he gets drafted there. But I'd also put Atlanta on the radar for a place that he could go.
Fun fact about Gonzalez, he had a 9.99 relative athletic score, which was the second highest because the Maryland guy was apparently God. But like
Deonte Banks,
yeah,
that dude's ridiculous.
Yeah, but especially for a guy who's 6'2" to be that athletic too, I feel like there's nothing he can't do physically at the cornerback position. That's a base pick, Alex.
Yeah. And then, so my offensive player is kind of an interesting one. I know I just talked about the kind of weird wide receiver market we're in. If you want to look at someone that you can add to a team and immediately get like a really good level of production, I think it's Zay Flowers. I know he's 5'9", and I know he's an 182-pound wide receiver. But the deep threat that he provides complements Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and gives Justin Herbert another playmaker. He's offering a great amount of separation skills. He's really good in the short and intermediate areas, just as good as he is in the deep threat. He's got a lot of short area quickness and instinctual playmaking. He was in the 84th and the 82nd percentile in his 40-yard dash and broad jump. He's a big guy. I think he's going to be really good. I feel like if they use him out of the slot, I'm looking at this team, barring if they keep Austin Eckler or not, as a team that's going to be really scary to play in the AFC West.
I can give you I'll start with the offensive end. I'll go with Paris Johnson Jr. I think everyone saw that recent video of him that went viral where I don't know what drill that was, but he was looking real light on his feet, and he's a big guy. He's been a top prospect all the way back through high school. And do I have to give a team that he would fit on? Is that part of this?
Yeah. I think I think he only has one place he goes to.
Chicago is where you're thinking?
No, I have him at the Jets. I think if the Jets get him.
Where do the Jets pick?
He's currently in the one I'm reading in the mock draft. They have him at like 11.
Yeah, I mean, I think he.
But
if they
keep that first round pick, when they trade for Rodgers, though,
it doesn't sound like they want to give up a first rounder for Rodgers.
Really?
But they may end up still caving and doing that. But yeah, I don't know. I'll do a little bold take, whatever. I'll say Paris Johnson Jr. in the.
Oh wait, it's 13. It's 13.
Yeah, but whatever. I'll say the Bears. And then offense, I'll go Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like, I know him and Quentin Johnson are different types of receivers. And
you just picked two offensive players, my friend.
Offensive players.
Oh wait, yeah, never mind. Who do I have on defense? Oh, Nolan Smith. So sorry, I had both of those guys because I thought someone might take one of them. But yeah, I'll go Nolan Smith, and because he was a beast at Georgia. And if he's going in the back half of the first round, that means he'll probably end up going to a good team. So I don't know who's picking down near the bottom of the first round.
I can tell you.
Let's go with the Bills. The Bills got Nolan Smith. That would be a big pickup.
I saw some interesting conversation about him going possibly to the Saints.
Okay.
But I think the Bills would be a good place for him. I would say the Bills might be a little hesitant, though, to draft anyone out of not the offensive pool, because I think Josh Allen probably pushing them right now to get an offensive player. But Dallas or Austin, who would like to go first?
All right. I've got my picks. I tried to go a little bit on the weirder side, you know. So for offense, I don't think people are talking about it. I don't know. I'm not on NFL draft Twitter, but are people talking about how this is like the best tight end class like ever?
Oh, yeah.
Like straight up. There's so many good ones this year. My personal favorite, if we're doing like these, he's near and dear to my heart. I really like Luke Musgrave, the Oregon State the tight end. Basically, he's got so much juice, so fast. He didn't play like at all this year, which is why I think there's a lot of, there's a little bit of hesitation.
He still tested pretty nice.
He tested really well. And if I'm not mistaken, what was it? He started the 2 games that he did play.
He had 169 yards, 1 touchdown, and 15 yards per reception.
Swagged out juice coming at you. He's fast. He's got like the mystery factor because he was hurt all last year. I think he could be really interesting because I feel like the NFL is really liking those kind of tight ends who can really stretch the seam vertically. And then for defense, I got my boy.
Which team did you have him going to? I see him mocked to Cincinnati right now.
Yeah, like Cincy, I think the Jaguars wouldn't, because they would probably pick one of the other ones. But yeah, I think like Cincy or the Jaguars, I think would be a good one. The Lions, they kind of need help at tight end. Yeah, I would say like the Jaguars. When I imagine who would take a tight end, I think the Jags could really, really benefit from one of the good ones that they have. And then on defense, I got my boy Nick Herbig from Wisconsin, the outside linebacker, edge defender hybrid, who's basically just, in my eyes, he's like Micah Parsons with less juice. Like he was insane as a pass rusher last year when he got to rush the passer. PFF did like a composite pass rushing grade. Like they used all their different little metrics, and they found that he was the best pass rusher in this draft class by like a pretty decent margin on just like true pass sets, non-play action pass attempts. I think he's kind of, and guys like him are a lot more frequent in the NFL these days, thanks to trailblazers like Micah Parsons. I think he fits really well as like a Patriots guy. They love those kind of guys who can play up and down. And I think he's, if they let him primarily rush the passer, I think that he could be lethal in like a second or third round pick with huge pass rushing ability. So those are my boys.
Cool. Dallas, finish it out.
All right, so I'll start on defense. The Saints lost Marcus Davenport in free agency, lost some other defensive linemen, so they could use a defensive lineman or a D tackle. And one of my favorites, I have to be a little biased here. I'm a little biased in these picks, but Brian Bresee from Clemson fits their needs very well at the later part of the first round when they pick. He had a down year at Clemson this year, but when you look at all the stuff he dealt with at Clemson, you can't really fault him on that. And he had a really good combine. He talked about that in the interviews.
He's a good dude. He is good dude.
This is the type of guy you want in your locker room. Plays really hard, plays with pride. This is the type of guy you love. I think he fits very well with the Saints. And then on the offensive side, I'm also going to go with the offensive tackle of Ohio State. On the other side, Rishi, and the big boy, DeJuan Jones. I want to show Indy some love from Ben Davis High School. And the teams, I think, obviously Cincy could use him. I think Tampa is another team that could use him on the offensive line. I forget if Trenton Wirfs, if he's going to be back in time for the regular
season. He'll be back in time.
What his injury was.
I don't think he'll be back till week 1 is what I remember seeing.
Him and Wirfs on two sides would be a pretty formidable offensive tackle group there.
For a new quarterback.
Yeah, I think Tampa needs it for Baker. Their offensive line very much struggled. Obviously, retirement and injuries hurt them last year on the offensive line. So I think those two teams could use DeJuan Jones.
All righty. Sorry, guys. I did have to scrub the NBA section. I'm going to dinner soon. So I was just trying to, and it's not like we still have like what, 10 or 12 games left. So we got enough time. I think we'll be all right. And I wanted you all to watch the games, but we're into the hot take section. Just to recap from last week, I had Kent State beating IU by 15. Drew Pember triple-double, 30 points, 10 assists, 10 rebounds. Did not happen. I dropped to 3.5 and 18. Dallas had Louisiana over Tennessee. Kennesaw State beats Xavier, and Boogie Ellis drops 35. Rishi is currently kind of still in the pending. I did give you a point, though, because you did get the most upsets in the first round, correct? So
I might have been wrong on that because I think the official rule is if it's a 1 seed difference, it doesn't count as an upset.
I don't care. I count it in my heart, Rishi.
All right, let's do it.
There's been
I'm
times
succeeding
where
on technicalities.
all right, you know what? If you had a hot take record this year of like ours, you would be looking. We're going for first round picks here. We're fighting over who gets Wembanyama here. Like it's not like fair.
This is a tank for Victor.
But whoever would like to go first, fire away. I'm not ready. So, all right, Austin.
I think, my hot take is the Warriors will finish as the 4 seed in the West, and they'll get home court in the first round. They've been underperforming like all year. Bad defense. They somehow forgot how to play on the road. But Phoenix just lost last night, thanks to the current white boy of the week, Austin Reeves. But I think that the Warriors, they have home games to close it out. And I think that they'll climb all the way up to 4. And and they'll have home court in the first round. And then they'll win the championship.
Win the whole thing. All right.
As long as they avoid the play-in, like Clay, Stephen, and Dre have never lost in the West.
I mean, could be possible. Could be possible. Who is up? Who would like to go next, gentlemen?
So you guys tell me if these are hot takes or not. Based on the odds, the 2 games in the Sweet 16 that are the longest shot for an upset are Princeton over Creighton and Miami over Houston. I'm taking both of those underdogs. Are those hot enough takes?
The parlay
Yes.
gives it the odds boost. So yeah.
Well, if I'm parlaying it, maybe I'm going to take a less risky one. Hold on. If we're doing a parlay, let me go with. Okay, actually, if we're going to parlay, scrap everything I just said. We're going to go Princeton to cover, Miami to cover, Alabama to cover, and we'll tack on Tennessee money line to that as well. I'll get you how long of a shot that is real quick. Okay, so that's plus 871.
That's hot
That
enough
is-
for me.
Okay.
Anything
hot enough.
plus like 350 is like genuinely you're
Perfect.
cooking a little bit. Dallas,
Perfect.
would you like me to close it to go last, or would you like to go last today?
I can go right now. One of my this is a good hot take here. I like this a lot. Obviously, I picked Michigan State in the Final Four in our regular picks, but I have a hot take here. This team has been hot all year. If Bama loses on the top side, this team could make the national championship game. They are that good. They had led by a guy named John L. Davis. Florida Atlantic is a good basketball team here. And one of my hot takes here is they're going to make the national championship game. Obviously, it's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of help. I think they match up very well with Kansas State or Michigan State, whoever wins that game. Obviously, the Tennessee game is going to be really tough for them. Can they score the ball enough? I think they can stop Tennessee. Tennessee struggles on the offensive side. And then the main key is Bama losing up top to either San Diego State, Creighton, or Princeton. And I believe if Bama loses, they match up with anybody of those teams. So that's why I can have them in the national championship game. And then I was looking on the women's bracket here, and the women's bracket is in the Sweet 16 as well. and the team just beat IU. They're super hot, but I'm not going to take them because they would get killed by LSU. But I'm going to have South Carolina actually losing in the Elite Eight to Maryland. They actually played Maryland earlier in the season. Diamond Miller was out for that game. So you can basically scrap the whole game because Maryland's best player is out. She's going to give them 25. Maryland will beat South Carolina in the Elite Eight and move on to the Final Four and end South Carolina's undefeated season.
All righty. Gentlemen, if anyone can see the script right now, Dim Tigers are rolling. The astute geniuses at Princeton have informed me that they want to win and they want to blow the doors off Creighton. So I got the Princeton Tigers winning by 15. I don't know what's going on. I'm just feeling some kind of way today, just in a silly, goofy mood. I'm just rolling with
The
them.
wacky goofy guy.
I saw a TikTok. They were doing calculus homework before their games. I mean, these guys are locked in mentally and physically. So I'm going with them. But it's been a great show, gentlemen. We will be back sometime next week to hopefully prepare for. I know we have opening day of MLB coming up. I don't know how many MLB fans we have. So,
This guy right here.
all right.
Big baseball guy.
We'll talk about it a little bit, but it's been great to have you guys on, and I will see you guys next week. As always, go watch some sports this weekend because the best is on this weekend. So
Everybody
great
wish
rest of your
Alex
day,
a happy
gentlemen.
dinner.
And I will have a happy dinner.
All
See you
right.
guys.
Deuces.